Hey guys, Rick Denham here with Holy Moly Outdoors. It's the middle of winter and we're starting to get some really cold water temperatures as well as air temps. So it's starting to shoot our river levels down. We haven't had rain for a while, so we're starting to see some low, clear water conditions. This is perfect for a stealth type approach. And what better than a float and jig presentation, but on a scaled down level. So today, I'm going to show you how I rig up for these low water conditions for float fishing. So let's get started and take a look. So first off, you kind of got to downscale everything. So I'm going with my IMX G Loomis 4-8. Now this is more of a free drifting rod, really out of a sled, but I've found for these low water conditions, I catch a lot of fish and have a lot more fun on these light rods. They work perfect for this situation. We're running 20-pound Berkeley Fireline Crystal, and that is going down to a shock tippet section, and I actually started testing this for the last, I don't know, couple months or so. The Blood Run floating monofilament. This is a 15-pound test line, and let me tell you guys, for us float fishermen, this stuff is really good. It really helps you to mend your line on your top shock tippet. You can lift up and pick up that line, and you don't have to worry about it sinking like your normal mono does. So a very, very good thing to have in your arsenal. If you haven't tried it yet, I really highly recommend it. So what I'm doing, since the river I'm going to be fishing is only about, I don't know, 5 feet deep tops right now with this low water, I only have about a 3.5, 4 foot section of top shot. I then take my bobber stops here from Bomac, little rubber eggs, and I thread 2 on the line. I then next will take a corky, and I usually do the corky in an opposite color contrast of my float. This could be a bead as well, but I like the corky, it stands out. And I will thread down a 1/4 ounce sleeker clear drift, and I really have a lot of success with these slim down sleeker versions for these low water. It displaces less water, so if you do get a bite, it's easier to tell. And for fish's sake, it doesn't see a big bulky presentation on the surface of the water. So we'll thread this through here, and we'll get that float thread through there. So now you have the contrast of that corky, so it stands out. You know your bobber has fully reached the bobber stop. I will then thread on 2 more of the bobber egg stops here. Thread through your main line on the little wire loop. Once that's through, you can pull that straight up. Now we got 2 more. Now this creates a fixed float setup, but the nice thing is you can just adjust the top ones and leave the bottom, and you can have a slip float setup as well. I like it because I can fish any depth of water that I need to with this rig, fixed or sliding. But for this case, I really like, because it's a stealth rig, I want a little bit of weight because I'm going to be throwing a very small jig with this. So I next thread on a very small bead, the same ones that come with those bobber stops, and I'm going to thread on a little 3/16 inch hollow core piece, about 1.5 inches long, and I will thread that on the line here, and this will act just enough weight to get our float to stand straight up and down. Because of this low water conditions, we're fishing super light jigs. So once we got our lead and our beads on here, we'll tie this swivel on, and it's just your normal barrel swivel. This is a rolling barrel swivel from Vision Tackle. Do our knot here. And because usually it's dry, I give it a little saliva just to secure all the way down. But basically, That's your float setup rig right there. Ready to rock and roll. Just need to add a leader. You can effectively fish a bead setup with this. You can also fish these ultralight jigs, which I'm going to show next. So we'll take a look. There's a lot of different brands out there. Now I will take a step back and we'll look at floats. So Clearger Floats has a couple different designs. Your normal, fat style, the big water series, which is even fatter than these smaller ones, and your sleekers. Now with the sleekers, you're going to really get a streamlined profile. I use these bigger, fatter ones for more current, because then I can keep a bigger bait up out of the water and not have it sink. But for these lower flows and slower water, I really like the sleeker design. So let's look then now at our jig selection. So in these low flows, we're looking at a max of a 16th ounce jig. Sometimes we're having to drop it to these little 32nd ounce ones that Warden Lures makes, the Maxi jig. Bomac has some as well with these SMJ Pros. All are very effective and very good producing jigs. Just all your preference. You can even tie up your own. I have a micro jig box here that I have some different colors thrown in there of all shapes and sorts, but pretty much 16th ounce is all I'm running for the largest, and these micros are what we're going to be running tomorrow. So because we've toned down everything in our gear, from our rod, our main line, and our floats, we also got to do the same thing on our leader to keep this whole setup balanced. So I have 8-pound test Red Label Seaguar fluorocarbon. I'm going to cut about a 3-foot leader section of this. Got my boomerang tool. Make sure that our leader itself is not frayed, and we'll tie on our jig. I use the same knot that I always was shown by my dad, called the triple loop. Doesn't really have a name, but really simple, easy to tie. I don't have any problems with it ever coming undone. Clip off your tag end here. Find your swivel under your float. Tie your knot in, and really guys, once you get this tied in, you are ready and set to go. You can think colors for jigs as keeping them more of a natural tone. Light pinks and whites are very good. Oranges can sometimes be good to spark a fish. Pinks are always a good steelhead color. You can even go to your darks, like your blacks and purples and your blues. Just mix it up, but that small presentation can sometimes be the ticket. And as we're talking small, one of the best things in this realm here can be a small egg presentation. So a lot of people know about bead fishing, so I don't really go too much into that on this video, but something I will talk about is tipping your jigs. A little chunk of shrimp can be a just game changer to give those fish a little bit something different scent wise, to really think about this offering and bite it. Another thing you can also do is tip them with plastics. Now these are X Factor single eggs, and these are the anise flavor. You can take one single egg off this and thread it onto the jig hook itself. Now you have anise scent, tipped jig, and that's what I was catching all my fish on this last weekend on the coast. So really it's up to your imagination guys, but this rig right here will definitely get you guys into some good fish in these low water conditions. So good luck out on the water. Thanks for watching guys. Rick Denham with Holy Moly Outdoors signing off. Take care and fish on.